Welcome back from the commercial break. We continue the discussion. Uganda aspires to become an upper middle income country by 2040. This is classified by the World Bank as a country with gross national income per capita above USA dollars 4,096. That is far and above Uganda's latest figure of under 1,000 USA dollars. While we are in the struggle to achieve the status, the upper middle income country by 2040, we are having unresolved challenges which we call this a socio-economic war, of where the different sub-regions of Uganda, the state of the economic lives of the citizen is quite worrying, especially looking at the index, the percentages as per each sub-region, and compare it to where we are supposed to be. So Northern Uganda, the Western Uganda, Central Uganda. Central Uganda was seemingly so far doing better at 35% of those who are living under poverty. That's a serious, progress that we cannot take for granted, much as we can do better than that. And looking to where we have come from and where we are all concerned as Ugandans, where we may not be in any kind of lamentation when you see someone driving and you don't say, these ones have stolen public funds. I would like to welcome you, Honorable Nzachi. You give us your input on how we can resolve these disparities that are happening in our country. Someone is in Ikororo, is enjoying the good air condition. Someone is there in the ghetto somewhere, maybe in Kawempe, life is difficult. How can we solve these disparities? Because at the end of the day, the journal said the number of insecurities, that's also an economic insecurity that can lead also into something that we don't want again in our country.
How do we solve these socio-economic
disparities?
I told you when we were starting this program, to do that is for the government to provide services that are equitable, that gives social equity. Provide schools where my child as a minister and the child of a sergeant in the police or a private in the army, all our children are going to the same school. Provide nice schools. For example, you see that where we used those days, the public servants used to take their children to Nakasero Primary School, Kororo High School. Now, what happened to those kind of schools? Provide that kind of, whereby anybody who have a talent or the wisdom, or a talent, let me say, everybody's talent is nurtured. And that's why, for example, in America, they say it's a land of opportunities. Even Obama, the son of a raw-cadre father who was serving somewhere in that way, rose up to be a president. So now, provide facilities where a son of a peasant, a son of a catechist from Rwanda will raise up to be a president, like how it has happened in Kenya, where a gentleman who was a young boy who was selling chicken has come up to be a president. Don't create scenarios, for example, and you say that only those who will be president will be a son of a president. Something like that. Those kind of social disparities must be leveled. Provide health education, I told you that. Whereby, if I am sick in Kabale, if a commoner, if a peasant is sick in Kabale, he goes in the same hospital. Do
you think Rwanda Health Center for
just
now can
let
help
me
us?
deliver the point, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Where if I get sick in Kabale, I'm not airlifted. I go in the same hospital where a peasant in Kisoro or in Kabale goes in the same hospital, okay? Probably even in the same bed. You leverage the services. That's what happened. You leverage the socio-economic facilities and amenities which the state provides for. You get? You avail, you give, you tap into the resources, into the skills if I have a skills and I grow up and I'm nurtured up, you are talking about this Lady Bamuturachi. My view is different. This is a girl who grew up as an orphan. Her father having been assassinated in 1982. Through resilience, she rose up because of her brain. She has reached where she has reached and she's earning 87 million shillings. Okay, fine. You may talk about disparity and what. She did not determine her salary. It is her entitlement. So if you are going to debate, don't debate and castigate Bamuturachi. Why is he getting 87 million? You ask the government, why hasn't he not provided it for the salary commission to leverage? Why should the president be getting 3.5 million shillings and then a member of parliament is getting 50 million shillings? Why are you not questioning that? So this is where the problem is. So if you are going to have, if you provide that kind of scenario, where an orphan, I'm also equal an orphan. 7 years I lost my dad, went into these schools, third world schools. I come to compete at the national level. I do not only compete at the national level, I compete at a global level. My brain, I'm not bragging, is at a global level. I should be acting at a global level. But that is, if the state is providing those kind of facilities, and they are tapping and say, you see, this is Banyanzachi. Meritocracy. And then you say, when an opportunity rises in the UN, and then you say, United Nations, and say, Banyanzachi have the capacities. He has demonstrated. He has challenged the United Nations. He has challenged the World Bank, IMF, which have done and successfully impacted on the policies within the World Bank, within IMF, including the United Nations, where we shaped, me and others, we shaped the Sustainable Development Goals. And then you have this kind of citizens. When that opportunity comes, you say, who merits this kind of job? The way Bamuturachi was picked and said, she merits the job. The salary is another thing.
So did she merit
the way you look at my brother here, General, Brigadier General here, the way he did not, the way, from all the way from Kisoro, Muvawara, that's what we used to call them, Muvawara, all the way from Kisoro, he hustles, enters the army, does everything, he's now moving up to be a general, full general.
Now,
so give such a kind of opportunities, leverage those opportunities to all the citizens of Uganda, and then you will have solved the issue of socio-economic. So there must be meritocracy. And this kind of meritocracy must be nurtured in the services, health, education, and all the other things. Okay? So if you are going to have all these kind of other things, and then to have all these things leveraged, and then when you have this kind of all these things leveraged, even the state intervention into the production sector, then you'll be having a state which is going to intervene to create industries. So if the state creates industries, the jobs should not be for Mwanawani. The jobs should be who merits this kind of job. And in so doing that, then you will be having those who merit the job taking the job. Okay? And once you have these big people who make the job, nature will sort out itself. Okay. Those who become stupid will go and be stupid. Okay. Those who be wise and follow the wise counsel will be like you. See, like you remember the story of the Bible story of the prodigal son. Those who want to be prodigal sons and daughters, they will go and be prodigal sons and daughters. But those who will be hands-on, wise, listen to the wise counsel of their fathers and their mentors, then they will grow. And then you will have leveraged the socio-economic.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's look into this. As you were talking, referring to the great achievements and the meritocracy, the state intervention, just in 2 minutes we'll be coming to General. There is what is happening. As we express all this information to the viewers, but back home, not here, this Kampala city where we are, the situation is not what we could expect it to be. Those who are rising, I'm talking of all of us, we have villages.
Okay, fine.
Yes, we come from villages and our constituencies. We come from Rwanda West, I come from Rwanda East. We come from which constituency, sir? Your constituency. You find that the environment to derive us, especially with the education system which we have, is not the status quo, the current state of situation cannot be the way how you are explaining it. It's a bit calling for.
Why?
It's a bit calling for intervention.
Why?
That's why I want you to answer it. Number two, the state intervention to create industries. One of the issues I was looking at while I was coming up with this discussion is that the industries in Uganda, those who are coming as investors, foreign investors, they are being given much more opportunity to grow. And those who are local industries who could go for industrial, ventures in investment, the kind of tax, waivers and so forth seems not to be there. And all those are unresolved issues.
You see, my brother,
in 2 minutes, you could just give us your input, then I come to investors.
Even that thing is debatable. You know, what these so-called foreign investors do, they study our system. They study our legal regime. They study our taxation regime, and they go for it. Now, we, the nationals, we don't go for it. Now, these foreigners, they go for it to the letter and for it to the letter. I can assure you, I'm also an investor, but I'm also stand to be blamed. In most cases, we locals, we don't follow this, we don't study the system and follow to the letter. When it comes to the nani, to this foreigner, they follow the system to the letter and they take advantage. And that's why you see even our Nkuba Cheyos who are born in America, in London, when they go there, they employ the same skills. They study the system and follow the system. They are coming back when they are very rich.
Okay.
So this one also, and in any case, when this so-called, we are calling foreign investors, now, the misconception of Ugandans is sometimes to look at any Indian and say these are Indians. You look at Mukwano. Mukwano is a Ugandan. I do not, my blood is not more of Ugandan. We are Ugandan. Mukwano, the children of Sudil, he's more, so in any case, even if he was not a Ugandan, whose factory do you call that one? You are saying this is an Indian factory. Isn't it a Ugandan factory? Who is it employing? The issue we should be debating now is that in these factories, is there a meritocracy? Or still the distortions within the meritocracy have invaded these industries which come here. And our staff being protected. So if we did that, this business, if we did it, if we followed our plans, I'm telling you, I'm opposed to this business of externalization of labor. Why should we be externalizing doctors? Why should we externalize teachers? Why should we externalize engineers? Why should we externalize engineers when they act in real instance? These roads, we are giving them to the Chinese. Let's study the system and protect and leave our skills here. The people we are externalizing are developing those other countries. In 1972, Singapore was on the same level with Uganda. Singapore is now a first world, more or less. Singapore and South Korea, East Asia, they are first world. Here, we are still grappling and say, what has gone wrong? The issues that have gone wrong is what we should be addressing. Where did we go wrong? So where did we lose
coming back and maybe
where did we lose this war? We lose this war on corruption. We lose this war into not addressing these issues that I'm talking about. We have not invested the money which we have been invested into research. We are not putting in it. This kind of, we have zoned the whole country. We know what grows where in this country. But are we implementing our plans to the letter? When you read our plans and policies, it is documented and it is very clear. Uganda, we have the best policies and the best development plan. It is the development plan of Uganda that Singapore for Xeroxed and developed Singapore. And then we had the blueprint here. Okay, the original copy. Now, what went wrong? These are the issues we should be sorting out. We get. And if we have been having this kind of destabilization and distortions which General Kraige will be addressing, instability, was 36 years down the road, it has been a different story. Okay, fine, you can say we had 20 years fighting Kony. Now what about these 20 years? 10 years is enough to transform a nation.
10 years.
If you are serious, focused, 10 years is enough to transform the nation. If President Museveni is earning 3.5 million shillings as his salary, okay, which is a fact, if we had said and put his ground and said, this is the maximum, I'm the chief executive of this country, all of you follow suit, you get, and all the civil servants are doing the same thing. And you provide schools, you provide hospitals, but these people are stealing so that they take their children in the best school, stealing so that they go in the hospital, the best hospital, stealing so that they buy the best car, stealing so, my friend.
Thank you.
We need, Kraite is a fanatic of mindset change.
I'll be coming
back.
I
was him in the OWC before he was taken to defense. Yeah? We need to have a mindset change for this.
Thank you, Honorable. Please, we are coming back to you. We still value the package we have. But as we go forward, we would like to look at two situations that have not yet changed. And as we do have a positive mind, our own, the mindset change, indeed there is a change. But to be real, I always say this whenever I'm with you here. And we look at the Ugandans which we are looking at 20 years from now, over 500 so far, over 500 many street children who are still, I'm an advocate for equality, justice, socio-economic justice on the streets of Kampala, who are still languishing, and there's no intervention to see how these children either can be resettled in a way that can create a future for them, since part of Uganda, the future of Uganda, can rely on that resource. General, this is a matter that is not resolved, and it will be a today's disparity and it will be a tomorrow disparity, where some people or Ugandans may be saying it's well with us, but there are others who are languishing in such a kind of situation. How can we bring a point to resolve such?
You see, Honorable Wanyezachi was talking about meritocracy and how he came from Mutorere and he's what he is. Do you remember that right from primary school, we paid school fees up to senior 6? Do we?
We paid school fees?
Yes.
Yes, I'm a product of the Obote education system. We paid.
But it was affordable.
Wait. Affordable to how many?
To all.
No.
Let's get his narrative.
Yes. You see, affordable to not all of us could afford it. And then, after senior 6, a few accessed university education because that's what was available. Makerere could only take 1,500 per year. All right? And so you had the university population of 4,000 people. That's the country you are boasting about. Why is it that these schools which produced Wanyezachi, Kuraije, Tindiewa, who were paying school fees at the time, now those schools cannot produce these individuals?
I'm hearing you, but you also talk about the situation of the security in the city.
I'm coming. You see, the point I'm making is mismanagement. Mismanagement as a result of what? When you liberalize and promoted private education, that's what affected. In our days, we used to actually despise the private schools, the Chisweras, the Bukumis. We used to despise them. Because one who did very well went to government school. It's those who didn't qualify for government school that went to private schools. Today, it's those who do well that go to private schools.
Why?
Because we exploited the freedom and mismanaged government schools. I remember when I was in primary, if the inspector of schools was expected, he should have seen the efforts being made to make the school appear attractive. Today, where are these inspectors of schools? The health centers you're talking about. We had the hospitals known were the government hospitals. The Chiyandongo, Chivoga, then the main hospitals in the towns. This government has put health facilities up to almost parish level. Drugs are sent, at least I monitor my district for Bukama and Simbi. Drugs are sent to the health center every month. They are stolen. But yet there is leadership, and this is what I will keep on insisting. There is leadership at parish and sub-county level.
Is it difficult to track those thieves and with the existence of our GSOs?
This is what I'm referring to. We have GSO, we have DISO, we have chairman of LC3.
What are they doing? Because they end up also involved in
Good question.
politics.
General Kraige,
Yes, please.
let's stop blaming those local people.
I'm not blaming
It's
Wanyazaki.
institutional failure.
No. I disagree with you.
Okay.
Let's see is your
My former chairman, who was chairman, reported at a rally, we have drugs in the health center in Butenga. Whereas elsewhere they were crying drugs have been stolen, my health center in Butenga had drugs supplied by the same authority. So when we are talking about decay, it starts at individual level. All right? It starts at the parent level. A parent of this child who is going to schools. Have you bothered to know that actually many children of the middle class and upper class are actually on drugs? So when you are busy blaming about government interview, children of the well-to-do are the majority in habitation centers.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
So there is a need to interrogate what has happened to our society. Why have these government institutions been mismanaged? You give a public servant like me a government vehicle, he mismanages it, but he manages well his personal car. You want to tell me that's about government? It's about mindset change.
Thank you. Before we go for the commercial break in 2 minutes, Geno, I'm really passionate in this matter.
Yes, so am I.
Give me those 2 minutes and I reply back.
I will be coming to you. There is a flow which I don't want us to lose. In Nigeria, the rise up of the Boko Haram, part of that society or grouping was as a result of how the disparity, both their socio-economic identity, was brought up for them. And I am worried, as we move forward, looking at this increased overflow of children who are not going to school, who were transported in any way to come into this city. They are from Karamoja. And as we are listing a number of insecurity threats, I do not take this for granted whatsoever, even if mine are not suffering like them, but it's not a security.
Doctor, Boko Haram is a product of several aspects.
I was just picking a bit.
Factor number one,
You have gone into the...
and he has taken me there. And
It's a treaty.
do not bring it in terms of social inequality. The causes of Boko Haram in northern Nigeria are different. They only found a viable ground because of the poverty on the ground.
radicalism.
Yes.
Because of the
Now,
poverty on the ground.
the question of the street children from Karamoja
Yes, please.
is beyond the social conditions. It's about commercialization of children in this country. These children are about.
Can't it be tamed? Can't it be controlled with the whole force which we have?
Again, there we go wrong. Enforcement and deterrence based on conviction are two different things altogether. They run after them every other day on the streets here.
Can they be?
Listen, doctor, they take them where there is food in the habitation in the children's centers. They run away and come back on the street. Why?
Do you have hope for them?
You see, my problem with we, the educated elite, is that we do not take time to analyze. He began by talking about taking the 36 years to improve the payment of generals. For us, we are being scientific.
Thank you. Let's go for the commercial break. We'll be coming back to Honorable Wanyazachi. I had something to say. Thank you, General. Please, we will be having the roundup session. You cannot miss this. We are going into the core issues, and some of them we cannot go off air before we talk about them. Stay tuned until I see you again.
Now that off air